Welcome to Ha Long Bay and its iconic rock formations, then over to the local museum to check out what it has in store. The local temple has a religious ceremony in full flow and some superb statues, then round the corner to the market. Join us for another adventure in Vietnam. So we stayed overnight in Ha Long Bay,
which was beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you can see why it is, I believe, a UNESCO site. It's absolutely magnificent. And for our second excursion in Ha Long Bay, we took a panoramic tour of the area, and we started off going a little bit, not that far from the ship, but effectively to a point where you could take in the superb rocks and grass formations that are all over that part of the sea.
And the little fishing boats as well.
And you're right, the fishing boats that basically are moored within the sort of alcoves that those rocks create.
Yeah, they're beautiful actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
People live on them, I think, don't they?
Yes, and there were a couple of fishermen that were going about doing their activities, and it was interesting to watch them. We took a short walk along the front, taking in effectively the views of the rocks that were near to the shore.
How long did it take us to get there by coach? Can you remember?
I think it was about 20 minutes. It
Was it?
wasn't that long.
Okay.
In Vietnam, if you want to take a good picture, please just do it. Yeah, don't ask anything. If you ask somebody inside, say no. But when you do yourself, they don't care. Remember that. Just do it. Don't ask anything. So you can take very good picture and very funny picture.
15-minute coach drive takes us to this superb viewpoint overlooking the iconic rock foundations, gives us the opportunity to see a completely different perspective than the one that we saw coming in on the ship. It's still as beautiful, but doesn't necessarily have quite the same wow factor. So mistakenly I thought that the man with the golden gun was actually shot in Ha Long Bay. In fact, actually it was in Thailand. But there have been two films in recent times that have had scenes shot there. One was Pan and the other was King Kong, Skull Island. We then went to the Quang Museum.
Probably got that pronunciation wrong, but anyway.
Probably have, but it's...
Which, 3 floors, wasn't it? Very modern.
Yeah. Big
Lovely.
black
Yeah.
monolith.
Mirrored kind of tile on the outside.
Which was interesting actually, because in the UK a lot of the museums that we go to have a very much a single focus. Like you'd go to the Science Museum and everything in it would be science. you go to natural history and everything will be natural history.
But this was a bit of that and a bit of this.
Yeah, it had different floors or parts of floors dedicated to different
All sorts
subjects.
of different things. There was clothes that they wore and pots and stuff like that. But the best thing in there that I thought was the had a coal mine. Obviously it was a mock coal mine.
Yeah.
Because it was on the second floor as well. On the second, yeah, it was.
Yes.
Second. Or third? No, third, because we went. We went the opposite to everybody else. We went up to the third floor and worked our way down, as everybody else did it the other way around. And I think that worked quite well, actually, didn't it? So it was on the third floor, so it wasn't a real coal mine, but very realistic and very good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So coal is one of the biggest produce. There's extensive mining, open cast mining predominantly within Vietnam, though I think the mine that we were looking at was an underground mine, though it was certainly fashioned that way, although the models that they showed were open cast. It was nice to take in the way that they actually mined, the tools that they used, and to see some of the activities that they were involved in that mining process. That was
lots of
quite
lifts,
interesting.
lots of escalators going up and down.
Yeah.
Toilets were okay.
So we continued along the coast for about 5 minutes until we got to the Quang Ninh Museum, where we all piled out of the coach. The museum was a huge monolithic black cube, and in the entrance to it were a number of sculptures including whales, a miner's head and a great big lump of coal.
Lost the husband, don't know where he's gone, but anyway, sure I'll come across him somewhere. Ah, there he is. Let's follow Steve. Steve vlogging.
So coal mining is a major industry in Vietnam, or at least in North Vietnam, which was absolutely fascinating to see this exhibition and look at its interpretation of what went on within a coal mine. I think they do a lot more open cast coal mining these days. This display is actually much more about underground. Really interesting.
Get lost in here, it's like a maze.
Quite fascinating.
Yeah, wouldn't want to be in a coal mine, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you do.
But I thought there was a section there on musical instruments, which was quite interesting. this section of the museum seems to be more about things that happened in normal life back in the day, including implements, making pottery and other activities. Really interesting, actually. So they had a exhibition which was things that had occurred in the Vietnam War. They had ceremonial rifles that were presented to Vietnamese dignitaries during that time. They had relics from American pilots who'd been shot down over Vietnam, and they had other relics from everyday life which had been affected by the Americans' bombing. And it made quite a touching exhibit. It was interesting to go round and look and to understand some of the personal grief and some of the personal feelings that the people on the ground would have experienced. We then, on another floor, there were displays of pottery through the ages.
I found the clothes that, that through the ages were...
Yes.
That was fascinating.
And I think the other one, there was a huge reptile bone, dinosaur bone structure in the foyer as well, which was, as you came in, was straight above your head, and that was quite impressive. And then outside,
all in all, it was a nice museum, very nice museum.
Outside they had some steps going up, and it went actually up to near where we were overlooking the bay, so that very much that seascape with the giant rocks and the grass.
And if you have difficulty, I just want to say, walking, and you have a walking stick or something like that, it's all a bit peculiar because there is a railing to hold on to, and then all of a sudden it stops and you have to do a bit on your own, and then it starts again. So same coming down, so it's a bit dodgy sometimes, but I did it.
They had these stone steps, and they had statues on one side as you went up, and on the other side they had lots of bonsai trees. And then when you got to the top, you got this massive view of Ha Long Bay, together with what I think was probably a MiG jet and a couple of missiles, which were on display.
Yeah.
But it was a nice time in the museum.
It was nice and modern, nice and clean.
Yeah.
So worth a visit.
And the exhibits were extremely well set out, and I actually quite liked taking in lots of different things rather than just taking in one thing.
Yeah.
It was then down the escalators and back to the entrance where we'd come in. There was a small gift shop there which we looked round. While we were waiting for the others to join us so we could go back to the coach, that I spied this area outside the back of the museum. Imperfectly with the monolithic structure of the museum itself, these large and wide stairs led up to a scenic view. On either side, on the right hand side going up, were bonsai trees, and on the left side were a series of statues. And then as you got up to the top and you oversaw the view, you saw these weapons and planes as if they were trained on the iconic rock foundation. We were shepherded back onto the bus, and our journey took us past the museum, giving us some lovely views of both the museum and also the iconic rock structures that we'd visited previously, before depositing us at Bai Tho Walking Street. We then went to the temple.
Right, yes,
Yes.
the temple near that market. Yes, so we went to the temple, and that one. Did you have to have a scarf? I mean, I had a scarf that I just put around my shoulders, and you're not.
And I had to wear trousers.
Long trousers and that one. You don't have to in all of them.
All the ones we went in
on that day,
Vietnam, we had to wear trousers, knees covered, both male and female, shoulders covered, both male and female.
But not in the south.
But we didn't in the south.
No.
No. But it was interesting. It was another temple. This one, someone tried to actually whip my shoes. You have to take your shoes off.
Are you going to tell who? Who? I was telling somebody else about this today.
I'm sure it was a monk. He sort of. I left my shoes outside, and I turned round and saw this youngish
Shaved
guy,
head, looking like a monk,
putting his foot into my shoe, and it looked as if he was about to walk off. And then he went and put them. When I said no, those are mine, he then put his foot into. I was wearing blue shoes, and he put them into a white trainer and walked off with these white trainers.
Oh.
So all a bit funny, really, but. Again, it was another temple.
And some dodgy stairs to go up. Nothing to hold on to.
Very dodgy stairs.
Yeah.
And to get to it was quite well hidden in the back streets.
Yeah. Which we had to walk to.
Yeah. And it was very much, lot of the temples all very much red and gold.
In actual fact, I don't know that. I mean, the temples that I've seen on television programmes and everything, they weren't really like that.
No.
Were they? I think maybe in Thailand, when we get to Thailand, they might be a bit different, but they weren't really how I thought they were going to be. I don't know.
And there seems to be either pagodas or temples on quite a few roads. I believe this one that we went to was the largest one in Ha Long. Bay area.
It was very pretty there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you get very distinctive incense smell.
Yeah.
When you're in the temples, it's you know, they really have quite a mix, and we were able to see, you know, there's actually a ceremony going on, which was actually quite fascinating to watch. I quite enjoyed watching that.
I don't know what it was.
No, I've got absolutely no idea, but it was quite fascinating to watch.
The guy was saying a lot of things, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pagoda that we're going to is the Long Tien Pagoda, which is the biggest pagoda in Ha Long City, and it's situated at the foot of the Bai Tho mountain, and the Bai Tho means poetic and probably refers to the poetic landscape. It was built in 1941 in the Ninh dynasty style, which makes it quite unique.
Thịt giấy thông niên phù hình cần nước mỹ tuyên long đạp giới thông niên phù hình kim nước phù dung thanh khẽ sinh nhất mê tích bách phạt mà thường kinh
công âm tài mã điên nói đàn tiền chứng dùng bảng phó lộ tiêu
Pagoda has 2 halls and is there to worship both Buddha and also generals of the Tran dynasty. One of the unique features of this particular architecture is the 3 entrance gates, each with its own door.
And then
we walked
sort of, we had to cross this road to this. We had some free time in this market. Now this really was like a local market, wasn't it? I would say, not like your tourist market.
Though in the instructions it said bring some money and buy your souvenirs.
I don't know what you want to buy there, but
there was lots of food produce. There was lots of flower produce.
Lots of car accessories and
tools.
Tools.
Lots of chains and locks and things like that.
And you had to go up some stairs and there was nothing to hold on to at all.
You had something to hold on?
Yeah, I held on to Steve. And the same coming down. And every now and again there'd be some chain thing that you'd have to get over, which, if you're like me, can be quite hard. But I had this old man with me here. So
he was being a gentleman for a change.
Yes. And shall we say what happened after that?
Well,
I'll do it delicately. So
okay.
We always end up going off piste. My husband takes me to the best places, and we sort of meandered through this market. We got to the other end, and there was kind of like a park, and then across the road was the beach. Beautiful, so there was like a canal bit as well, wasn't there? And so Steve thought,
and a fishing village.
Steve said, let's go down here and we'll take some photographs. So we started going down, and there was like liquid on the floor, and I thought, oh, this is urine. So I said, Steve, stop. And there was other things there, if you know what I mean. What's the other thing that goes with urine? And I said to Steve, no, let's come back. Absolutely reeked. So we came back, and we still wanted to get to the canal bit. So we went this other way, and Steve was off ahead, but he saw as well. This woman just came along and squatted down, bare backside out, and spent a penny. Or if people don't know what that means, had a wee, just weed in the park.
In the middle of the afternoon.
But everybody around, everything. So Steve and I just carried on walking as if it was quite normal, and we saw it every day. And we were both going, "Oh my God!" So that was a bit of a shock, actually. Because,
and when we got to the other
it was so
side,
lovely around there.
There wasn't much around the fishing. The little sort of lead into the sea.
That park is obviously where all the
Yeah.
people on the market still and everything obviously use number 1s and number 2s. But thank God we didn't see a number 2 being done. But so anyway, that was that. Moving on. So what did we do? We went back to the coach.
We went back to the coach and then
back to the ship.
We went back to the ship.
So
that was our scenic tour of Ha Long Bay.
Yes.
Pearls are a bit cheaper here than they were the other day. This was billed as the place to buy all of our souvenirs. Nice display. This part of the market was actually quite interesting, as it showed everyday items that the locals would purchase for whatever they required. And then off to one side was the fresh fruit market, and you can sort of see some of the products very, very well displayed. So the iconic Ha Long seascape was never far from our views. This is a little fishing village where the fishing boats were coming in and unloading their catch in shelter. Meeting place for the bus was just outside a restaurant, and we were hanging around there, and they very nicely brought some chairs over and didn't expect us to purchase anything. There was a guy there who was meticulously cleaning a pair of trainers. I think he was trying to drum up some business. He already looked clean when he started the process. My guide was explaining that there'd been a significant shift in thinking in Vietnam, and they were actively trying to encourage tourists, likening themselves to Hong Kong and Singapore in terms of their aspirations in the medium term. You could see lots of work going on to develop the country, but there's also a lot of poverty in places. Ha Long Bay is one very busy stretch of water, a lot busier than some of the ports we go to. We loved our time in Ha Long and found the seascapes, the people, extremely nice. But I was also looking forward to sailing away and getting further insight into those iconic land masses. When we'd come into port, it had been in the early hours of the morning, and it was very difficult to see any of the detail. Is it?
Lovely. So this is the crab cake I'm going to try.
It's not just any crab cake, that's a ginger crab cake.
Ginger crab cake. Lovely. Really nice. What have you got there, Steve? Look at that. It's very pretty, isn't it?
It's very nice.
What is it?
Fettuccine.
Valserin or something it was?
Yeah, very nice.
We don't have anything like Europe, if that's what you're nothing like that.
Nice. Isn't that very pretty though, isn't it? Look at that.
It's very delicate.
Wow.
Very delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we think you for the